Okay, this is a video that I am recording on a program delivery update from last week, the week of July 14, 2025, in which IRCC added multiple pages to its website on work related to transportation, marine, land, or air travel, and when a work permit is required. Again, the purpose of this YouTube channel by Larley Rosenberg is to kind of just walk through different program delivery updates that IRCC has. Program delivery updates are instructions to visa officers on how to process work permits. The work section related to work related to transportation is incredibly detailed, and it's not going to be possible in this 5 to 10 minute YouTube video to go over everything in detail. But my main goal is that you are, by the end of this video, aware of these different sections on the IRCC website, because if you're an employer or an employee in work related to transportation, specifically marine, you will want to know these sections. And as per the program delivery update, it pertains to work for those temporarily in Canada who are going to be working in work related to transportation, such as marine workers, captains and cockpit crew, flight attendants, train conductors, engineers, food service workers, and entertainers for the duration of the trip, as well as transport drivers. Certain of these foreign workers may be able to work without a work permit as members of a crew under 186S of the regulations, and others will require a labor market impact assessment as well as a work permit. Going into some of the overview and the definitions, and again, these are all new web pages on the IRCC website posted July 18, is that some of the terms you'll want to know involve Transport Canada, which administers and enforces the Coasting Trade Act. This is very relevant in terms of cruise ship workers. Prior or just at the start of COVID or prior to COVID, I did several LMIAs and work permits for cruise ship repair and got to be familiar with the importance of these terms. Members of a crew it's defined in the regs, and it includes those who are employed on a means of transportation, those who perform duties during an international voyage or trip, and those who perform duties that are related to the operation of the means of transportation. It doesn't include people who will be doing maintenance or service contract, people who are performing duties during the voyage in exchange for not having to pay for the trip, those who aren't otherwise encompassed, and in-flight security officers. I'm not going to get into in this YouTube video all the distinctions between coasting trade or cabotage, exclusive economic zones, but again, it's just important to understand that this web page is here with important guidance for marine workers. And there are specific guidance on when a work permit is not required, which is that, it includes crew, and then the officers have to determine, is the work part of the regular operations related to the vessel or to the provision of services to passengers or other crew members? Are they under an employment contract or a service contract? And again, that website has very detailed as to what is an employment contract, when is a service contract, certain occupations of what meets the definition of crew, the officers, the non-licensed crew, rules for cruise ships, rules for fishing vessels. And again, as you can see, whether or not a work permit is not required will depend in part on whether the cruise ship is foreign owned, is it registered in Canada, is the cruise ship primarily engaged in international transportation, where is it disembarking and embarking passengers, where is it embarking and disembarking loads, does it involve the repositioning of empty containers in Canadian waters, and what doesn't count as crew, tour guides. All of this, again, very, very detailed. This video is niche to this sector. And again, it's just to make you aware that all of this is now on the IRCC website in terms of when a work permit is and isn't required. For when a work permit is required, there's also new guidance on when it's part of the International Mobility Program or when an LMIA is required. And again, it's just, worth definitely going through to understand the incredibly detailed questions and answers. There's like, can a work permit be issued prior to the issuance of the coasting trade license? And the answer is no, with guidance as to why, when work permit rules for registered vehicles under free trade agreements, certain types of transportation that is related to maritime, where vehicles are registered, rules for ships on standby, and two final pages specific, and this could become very big depending on how Canada decides to, economically expand under the Carney government, specific rules now on work related to offshore construction inside Canada's 200 nautical miles exclusive economic zone. This is brand new section, and it gets into work related to work that may occur on artificial islands, the continental shelf, marine installation or structure. And as it notes, as a rule, these workers will be required to obtain work permits, but there are exceptions to this. And that includes if a worker on a foreign vessel that is operating within the EEC and is not anchored to the seabed, then they do not need work permits. So as you can see, very, very detailed guidance on when a work permit is and isn't needed. And it goes into this chart here just shows, for example, if it is a foreign vessel, marine installations or structures, whether or not anchored to the seabed. The example is an oil platform anchored to the seabed, then a work permit is required. For rules on exclusive economic zones, so for example, if the work involves something that is anchored or attached to the continental shelf or seabed in connection with its exploration or the exploitation of its minerals or non-living resources, such as an oil platform anchored to a seabed, then a work permit is required. And finally, there's general rules for Seaspan, big employer in British Columbia, about when their workers will be eligible for C10 work permits. So definitely if you are working for Seaspan or maybe a company and similar that you can argue is analogous, it's important to understand these unique work situations that involve Seaspan specifically. So again, this is very specific program delivery update to a narrow subset of employers, those in the marine industry, but also very important for anyone in that industry to review the new guidelines on the IRCC website. This video is a bit different from most that we do on the on this channel, which is going in detail on a program delivery update. I mainly just wanted employers and representatives and I guess applicants who are working in this industry to be aware of the new pages on the IRCC website regarding work permits in marine.